Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to be following up on a video we did earlier about initial leaks for chapter 1047. But now that we have the information or most of the full leaks available, we're going to go over everything that has happened. So please remember these are just leaks, and although we don't have the full chapter and some changes may very well happen in the final chapter, we're just going to talk about everything that is going on that we know and maybe just kind of connect to a little bit of speculation. But before we get into the details, if you're new to the channel, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a larger way, consider sharing the channel or the video with a friend. But otherwise, let's get into the video. So friends, the chapter starts out with Yamato yelling at Momonosuke, where Yamato is telling Momonosuke to make the clouds to hold Onigashima aloft, saying that he could make the clouds, trusting in this young man's ability. Now just remembering that although Momo is huge, he's still this little kid inside of his mind. But Momonosuke says that Yamato's words don't change anything and that he wasn't able to make the clouds like Kaido. Like, it was impossible for him to do. He just couldn't make any clouds. But as he says these words, a memory pops into his mind, and we see Toki and Momonosuke in the past while the castle was being burned. In the flashback, we see Toki telling her son to go with Kinemon and the others to the future, as he was the only one capable of reviving the Kozuki clan. But Momonosuke, still crying, tells his mother that he couldn't do that, and he asks his mother and Hiyori to go with him to the future too, the whole family staying together. But Kinemon yells at Momonosuke, and with tears on his face, he says that the person that is suffering the most in this very moment was Momonosuke's mother, that this land for the samurai, where everything is paid with for their lives, this is something that he had to do. And apparently Kinemon speaks a very popular saying or some kind of platitude that they have in their culture. Then Momonosuke replies that he was just a child, that he couldn't do that, and Kinemon apologizes for his bluntness. But with Oden having lost his life, Momonosuke couldn't just be a child anymore. Kinemon goes on to say that he would like Momonosuke to give him a second chance in this battle, that he didn't care about losing his life in the name of a new master, but that he wanted to have his body buried with the samurai in case he lost his life in service to it. Toki then calls out her son's name again, and Momonosuke starts calling back to his mother, but he didn't know what else to say. So with tears in his eyes, he starts saying phrases as if, well, if he failed at something, and he was sorry. As Momonosuke comes back out of the flashback and regains his consciousness and comes back to our current events, he has a much more serious expression, but still crying. And then he decides in that moment to create a cloud to save the people of Onigashima and Wano. In the next scene, we head over to Kaido and Luffy's battle, where we see Luffy still has lightning in his hands, just as we saw in the last frame of the previous chapter. And it looks like Luffy was ready to attack Kaido with these lightning bolts. Kaido, with a big smile, tells Luffy that he actually managed to catch thunder, while also saying that it was really silly to have done so, while having a big laugh and laughing at Luffy, while Luffy looking incredibly excited. Luffy, with lightning in hand and still with a gigantic smile, uses a new technique called Gomu Gomu Thunder, an attack where we see he used this very lightning bolt he took from the clouds to attack Kaido. Bianco, of course, manages to dodge the attack with great ease, and after dodging, he tells Luffy that he could try as much as he wants, and while saying that, Kaido goes on with his kanabo in hand to attack Luffy, knocking him into the sky. But while flying away, Luffy ends up grabbing onto a lightning bolt that falls next to him and holding on so he doesn't get thrown back, and then catapults himself forward in Kaido's direction. So while Luffy is hurling towards Kaido, he ends up saying that he, as in Luffy, was not strong enough to take over the world, that he didn't have the power. And as Luffy goes on to use another technique, he ends up getting hit in the face by Kaido and gets knocked to the ground. Kaido goes on to say that Roger didn't need the power of any devil fruit to make his way and have all the great achievements he had in the world. Roger only needed his haki, because only haki would be able to overcome everything. Kaido goes on to hit Luffy again and knocks him to the ground several times. And then, as it looks like Luffy's about to land something on Kaido, we see that he manages to hit Luffy again. So just when you think Luffy's about to get knocked back again, we see him grab Kaido to hold on and keep from getting knocked back, and Kaido shouts for him to let him go. Kaido then hits Luffy's arm to get him to release it, but Straw Hat is not having any of this. So then Kaido transforms into a dragon and throws a huge gust of wind in Luffy's direction. Kaido then asks if Luffy's weakness to cut still exists, exists even in this new transformation. Because of course, in his rubber form, he can take all the blunt hits he wants, but any knife will actually cut the man. But Luffy quickly begins to learn how to dodge these attacks, and while maintaining a very serious expression, he still has a big smile on his face. The next scene then switches down to the Flower Capital, where we see everybody celebrating the Fire Festival, having no idea what could be happening next. Everyone just smiling and joyful, while this incredible battle looms just above their heads. A battle that could decide the fate of their lives, because of course if Kaido wins, Wano will be destroyed by Onigashima. But if Luffy and his companions manage to pull it out, everyone's lives will be safe. The scene then switches back to the battle between Luffy and Kaido, where we see Kaido shooting a blast of fire at Luffy and manage to land a hit. Then we switch to the inside of the Skull Dome, where the samurai are cheering as most of the flames seem to have gone out and Kaido's pirates were almost all defeated, which meant that their victory was very close at hand. The samurai then start to say that if Luffy managed to really defeat Kaido, everyone on the island of Onigashima would lose their lives, because of course the island would fall, taking the lives of everyone inside it. However, if Kaido wins, there is a possibility that they will stay alive until such time as Kaido shows up where they are and tries to take their lives. And either way, they were in some serious trouble. So the samurai decide then and there to defeat Kaido in the same way, that they said they could not allow him to stay alive. Now Kaido's pirates respond by saying that they were crazy, because if Kaido loses his life, everyone loses their lives. Old man Hirogoro then says that he really didn't care, because it really wasn't that bad. Because if Kaido lost in this conflict and they lost their lives for a good reason. But of course Usopp chimes in that he didn't really feel the same way. And Usopp then goes on to say that he didn't want to lose his life, not in that place, so he had to live no matter what. So Usopp, with a scared expression, starts to find ways to get out of the situation. The scene next switches to Orochi and Hiyori. Orochi seems to get the Sea Prism Stone's nails out of his body and is able to transform with his devil fruit. Orochi says that he would take Hiyori down with him, wishing that Odin could see that very moment. He says that he will take Odin's only daughter with him, and with his body on fire, he jumps at Hiyori, and the scene ends with a terrified look on Hiyori's face. Next, we head back to the top of Onigashima, where we see Momonosuke watching the fight between Luffy and Kaido. Luffy appears right behind Momonosuke and surprises him, and Momonosuke, scared, says Luffy's name. An instant later, we see that Luffy is back on top of Kaido with a giant hand covered in haki, saying that he will end everything, but Onigashima needs to get out of his way to make that happen. Yamato then says that if Luffy lands his punch and hits Kaido and also hits Onigashima, it would destroy everything, taking everyone's life with the attack, even his teammates. And so Momonosuke yells at Luffy to stop doing it. But Luffy tells Momonosuke that he believes in his potential, while Momonosuke is startled, wondering what Luffy had said. So the chapter ends with Luffy heading towards Kaido with a giant punch. But basically, just like we speculated in our last video, Luffy wants Momonosuke to hold the island so that he can beat Kaido once and for all. This chapter seems to be building a bridge to the end of this confrontation between Kaido and Luffy. And now that Momonosuke is a little more motivated because of Yamato and Luffy's words, he might actually be able to start creating clouds to move Onigashima. But really, if you think about it, Momo doesn't really have a choice in the matter, because Luffy's going to be headed towards Kaido with this huge punch, and if we all know Luffy, he's gonna go for it. So if Momonosuke doesn't change the direction of Onigashima, Luffy will end up destroying everything. So in our next chapter, we may see that this is the moment, that marquee moment, that getting boiled in oil moment, where Momonosuke is gonna get these clouds going and get the island out of the way, so finally we could see Luffy bring down Kaido. We also see in this chapter that Luffy has been taking quite a bit of punishment in this fight from Kaido, and although he's taken a lot of hits, he is still standing in the fight and still trying to hit back. Now, so far, Luffy really hasn't been shown to be even the least bit tired, so Luffy could stay in this fight for a much longer time. Meanwhile, Kaido looks like he might be just starting to run out of steam. Kaido is no longer attacking Luffy consecutively, and apparently it looks like he doesn't even have enough strength to keep Onigashima flying. So if Luffy manages to hit him, this really could be the end for Kaido. And although we got a lot of different action in the chapter, we didn't really get much more in terms of the way of Joy Boy or Luffy's fruit. We didn't get anything from the Gorosei or Zenusha, really maybe only a tiny people, and really it was just the people in Onigashima that were building this story as this kind of maybe final apex moment in the arc is about to happen. Finally, we're going to talk a little bit about Hiyori and Orochi. Now, as we predicted, Orochi managed to escape from Hiyori's Sea Prism Stone nails, and this allowed him to get his devil fruit back up again, and his body is still on fire, so although he may get this one last dig at Hiyori, he still could be losing his life life quite soon. But of course, we saw that he really, now that he's faced with Hiyori, wants to take her down with him. Because by being Odin's daughter, this may be that one last kind of big offense to the man that he felt so intimidated by and stole the country of Wano from. So at the end of the day, we really don't know if Orochi and Kaido will live and survive through this fight and then see Wano recover from the misdeeds they've done, or maybe even get taken away by the Navy. But there you have it, folks. Those are the topics of the chapter and the leaks, now that we have had a chance to cover them all. So with all that said, what do you think about it? What do you think is going to happen? Could we be heading to Momonosuke's moment? How do you think this is all going to play out between Kaido and Luffy? And what do you think he means by having Momo move the island? Let us know in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video, we want to thank you all so much for watching the video till the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like as you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.